Okay, we're going to try this again. This is my movie review. My name is Drew, if you've never seen me before, which I would assume that pretty much anybody out there has not. I saw Solo: A Star Wars Story last night. I have mixed reaction from the beginning. It's tough seeing a character that you know and love be played by a different actor. I think the actor did an okay job. It just didn't feel like the character Han Solo. Of course, you have to kind of suspend that feeling, though, and enjoy the movie. And I did my best to do so. The other actor playing Lando Calrissian, I think I read some earlier little snippets on the internet saying how he had stolen the show. I did not feel that way. I did not feel that he had stole the show. But I do think that he did a better job portraying Lando than Aaron did playing Han Solo. Chewbacca, of course, was great. I know we all know there's a new actor in him playing Chewbacca. Whoever plays Chewbacca is great. So, let's see. The movie, spoilers here. If you haven't seen the movie, I've got a bunch of stuff I'm going to talk about. Not real organized in my thoughts. I'm just going to kind of piece it together here, though. I thought it was a little much, just like I've seen some other people say a Wikipedia page. I mean, it's like, here's where Han's from, here's how he meets Chewie, here's how he gets the Millennium Falcon, and it's basically a heist. The whole heist thing is a little contrived, dealing with the mob and the syndicate that they're stealing for, and the first heist is botched, so now they're in their debt and they have to steal again, which got a lot more contrived. But all that aside, I mean, you can have some good adventure with that, and there was some good adventure scenes. I guess going to the heart of the movie, the second heist is the Kessel Run, and I wasn't really blown away by that. After all this time we've heard, it's been hyped up that this is some major special thing, to find out that all it is just the computer had to plot a different course through an uncharted area of space. I don't know. It was a little contrived. And when you watch the movie, you'll see that the navigational robot that was Lando's co-pilot, gets destroyed. So they're basically able to just plug this robot in, and all of a sudden, the Millennium Falcon has this intelligence to do what no other ship has ever been able to do. And I mean, that just was complete contrived BS to me. I mean, if you're gonna be able to build a robot that has these navigational charts and calculations in it, then you could build another robot, or you could build it into a computer or a ship. I mean, robots on this show, as far-fetched as they are, they're at least still presumed to be manufactured and designed and programmed by the humans or the other creatures in the galaxy that exist to create them. So I don't know. That, to me, it was just like, wow. If every ship should have that, then, if that's all it takes. And then they have to get away from this thing, the Mao, which was, they have to take a drop of this pure fuel and drop it in the fusion reactor. It's just a complete contrived, they put themselves in harm's way in some impossible thing, and now it's an impossible get out of it. But that's fine. When they're in this cloud, the music was okay. It's nothing quite like John Williams music that we all know and love from episodes 4, 5, and 6, and even 1, 2, and 3. That music is just irreplaceable. Even John's music from 7 and 8 so far has been good, but I don't know that it measures up to his original scores. But this one, it didn't really quite measure up. It's okay. I did find it distracting a couple of times. The one time was in the escape from the Mao, and when they're in this cloud, the Kessel Run. They play a TIE Fighter attack from Episode 4 when the TIE Fighters are attacking. I guess that's appropriate, but I found it to be distracting to hear that music then. And then almost immediately after that, within a minute or so, then we heard the asteroid field music from The Empire Strikes Back. So, and those two cues were together in the same piece of music. It distracted me. I heard it, and all of a sudden my mind jumped off of what I was watching, and then I heard the other one, and I was completely befuddled. So I think that was a mistake. They shouldn't have had that in there like that. Let's see. So also while they're in Kessel, Chewbacca is able to save some Wookiees. I was first a little bit. It was confusing. Were those his actual family members that he was trying to find, or did those just happen to be just some other Wookiees that were there? They never gave any indication at all, and I was, surprised. It seemed that if Chewbacca had really found some Wookiees that were important to him, and sure, this slave planet was perhaps in total rebellion, but to leave them there, it seemed like Chewbacca would have wanted to have at least brought them to freedom somewhere else. I understand it didn't work with the story, but the other thing that I was completely befuddled by with those Wookiees were they didn't look like Wookiees. They were tall and they were covered in hair, but their faces, you didn't really get a chance to see more than one of the other Wookiees at just a brief glimpse. And I really felt like as I'm watching this that was intentional, because it almost felt like they didn't have the budget to make more than one hero Wookiee costume, so they didn't want to get any close-up shots of them. Because when you saw this Wookiee, it looked like it had almost like an ape face. I was like, is this Planet of the Apes meets Chewbacca or something? It just did not look like a Wookiee. We saw other Wookiees in the prequels, and those looked like Wookiees. That Wookiee on Kessel, the one little glimpse or two of its face, it looks like it's an ape face, like from Planet of the Apes. It didn't have any hair on its face, and it did not look right. I found that to be incredibly distracting. And on the subject of Wookiees, of course, everybody anticipates where Han Solo and Chewbacca meet. So they meet in a muddy jail cell or death chamber, whatever it is, where the Wookiee is supposed to kill apparently prisoners of war that the Empire's infantry have dropped in there. And they drop in Han, and they fight. And that was all fine. That Han convinces Chewbacca to help, knock down the post and escape. For sure that was cool. But the thing that Han may have suggested this to him, but and he definitely helped him get off the planet with the ship. So it was in Han's benefit, though, just as much as it was Chewbacca's benefit to do this. So I had always thought, maybe from reading the books, maybe from whatever, that Chewbacca had a life debt owed to Han Solo somehow. And it just didn't feel like what they were doing there was, I owe you my life for the rest of my life, especially considering that a Wookiee is living whatever they live, 400, 500 years old or something. It just, I was like, yeah, great, he got him out of jail, and sure, maybe he owes him some kindness as a result of that, but it just didn't seem like, I don't know, because Chewbacca got Han out of the same predicament just as much, and who knows, maybe Chewbacca had been there for years, and this was a major turn for him, but I don't know, there was no mention of that, and there was no mention of the life debt, so I don't know, I just, after all the build-up probably for that, then that's all it was. Same thing as the Kessel Run. I was just like, okay, wait a minute, so we've been hearing about these things forever, like how big a deal it is, and then it seemed to really not be a big deal. Let's see, Emilia Clarke, her character was fine. I enjoyed her character. It was, certainly her and Han Solo could not end up together in any long-term way anyway. I guess, the way that ended with them was probably fine. It was a little sad. I did enjoy the characters, but it would be interesting if they did make some kind of a follow-up to this movie to see what would happen with her. It did kind of really leave her hanging, with Darth Maul popping in there. I didn't particularly like that. I guess it was okay. I had an idea that Darth Maul had survived. I knew through the internet that he had popped up in an animated series and somehow survived his episode 1 chop in half moment. But I'm sure many people didn't know that. My girlfriend, after the movie, she's like, wait a minute, I thought Darth Maul was dead. What's going on here? I think she was at first kind of second guessing, was that really Darth Maul? And I said, yeah, that was really Darth Maul. And it was confusing to her, and maybe it's a good thing that way, because maybe that'll get people interested in the character, and if there was a sequel, that would certainly at that point people would know. The other thing I didn't like, there's one moment I really didn't like too, when they're on the desert planet, which is not Tatooine, which is not Jakku, which is not any of the other desert planets. I'm sure if I had paid attention, they probably told me the name. But as they're finishing, and Han and Chewie, and I want to say Tyrion, but it's not Tyrion. That's Tyrion is Tyrion Lannister. But Woody Harrelson's character. When Han Solo shoots him, I really did not like that moment. I know that the whole world has discussed, and I wholeheartedly agree, that Han shot first in the cantina. But when Han was in the cantina, he had a gun on him, and Greedo was going to shoot him, perhaps, or for sure take him back to Jabba the Hutt, where he was going to die. But he was under some absolute distress, and he really kind of had no choice. He was backed into a corner. He had no other choice, so he shot Greedo. On that scene in Solo, they're out in the desert, and it's like all of a sudden Han just shoots the guy. And there was a little dialogue before that, but it just felt like very cold, and like it was not. I didn't feel like Han's life was in imminent danger. Once Woody's character is shot and he's laying there, and Han comes over, he's like, "Oh yeah, you did the right thing. I would have killed you." I don't think he really would have. I don't know. It didn't feel that way, because you liked his character, and I think that's what it was. I liked his character, and Han killed. I don't know. I mean, sure, he was a scoundrel, the same way that Han becomes a scoundrel. You couldn't trust him. Perhaps, I guess you can, if you're on the right side of things, you can trust Han. But I don't know. I really just didn't feel like that at all. It felt like he was a murderer, and I don't know if they just didn't want his character to come back. I don't know why they couldn't have just went their separate ways. I mean, if if they decided to have a shootout, and he had not even pulled a gun on Han. If he had pulled his gun and was like, ready to shoot, then sure, then he has to defend himself and shoot him back. But I don't know. I really did not like that moment. Aside from that, we saw Darth Maul, and that was kind of cool. I kind of had it in the back of my mind: are we going to get a, just some kind of a little bump in of Vader or the Emperor or something? I guess Darth Maul was a substitute for that. I was almost a little disappointed that we didn't see somebody else just for a moment, or even a young Leia. That would have been cool. And not that it would have mattered. Han would have never ran into them, had any reason to, probably, but who knows? Some little twinge of that would have been kind of cool, but it's okay. I don't know. I'm trying to think what else I didn't like. I know I focus a lot on the negative things. The things that I did like, the Millennium Falcon was pretty cool. You actually got to see a little bit more of the ship, which I did think was cool. It was nice to see a bedroom, basically, and a closet, excuse me, that we've never seen before. And I don't know what else was cool about the movie. The special effects were great as usual. We're at the point where the process of making these movies, they can make them look spectacular. I guess overall, my general comment is it just didn't quite feel like a Star Wars movie. It didn't have the wonder. I mean, I'm sure that the wonder of a Star Wars movie is gone. I mean, nothing will ever come back for me at almost 50 years old the way it was when I was young and was able to see Star Wars for the first time, and Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and it just those feelings will never, there'll never be a movie that's able to do that again. Anyway, but I guess that's my review. I would give it a C, probably. I think it's worth seeing. I'm going to see it again tomorrow with my kids. I will be interested to see what they like and don't like about it. But yeah, it's worth seeing. It just didn't quite feel like Han Solo, and it didn't quite feel like, it didn't blow me away as a Star Wars movie. It was okay. It was serviceable. It was certainly worth seeing once, maybe seeing again. It kind of fits in as a Star Wars film, but it just I don't know. It just felt maybe a little plain. Didn't have a lot of depth, and I just nitpick the things. That's how I am, though. Any movies that do things to be cute and do things to be that are contrived, I don't like that. I don't like that. Once you've established the laws and the rules of a given universe, sure, you have a fictional universe. You have fictional things that happen. The hyperdrive, for instance. Okay, so they've established that they've mastered a way to travel faster than light. That's fine. But if they do something different in the future, then then that's I don't know. Anyway, thank you. My name is Drew Whitehead. Maybe I will try and post more videos if I actually get people to watch this. Have a great one, and take care. Bye.